rewriting a new class. And I was doing all this research over the weekend. And do you guys know that 38% of all the houses in America are owned by baby boomers? Do you also know that
That
that's
was
only
38, you said?
38% of all the homes in America are owned by baby boomers? But here's the shocking stat in addition to that, only 21% of people are in that generation. That's only 21% of the population in America is baby boomers. So there's still another 79% of people out here trying to buy houses. And these people are sitting on over $55 trillion of the wealth in America. This 38%. It's like 57 and change trillion dollars of wealth. Now, I also learned in data research that this group is so nervous about downsizing and selling their house because they don't know that if they can afford to live in assisted living, because the ages that we're living to is so much longer than when they started putting money up for retirement. So they all thought they might be dead in their 70s. Now the average age is like 87. So they're worried about that gap. So they're sitting on these houses, not realizing that the longer they sit on them and don't fix them up, they're not making themselves better. Does that make sense? So when they sit on this house, they're like, we're going to stay here another 10 years, but we don't really have the money to fix it up, but we can't afford to go somewhere else. They're just going further backwards, because in 10 years, what's that house going to need? A roof, maybe structure, paint, carpet. So what if we teach them how to look at that investment as, hey, you don't necessarily have to go to assisted living, but you could do a step down where the overhead is not as high and your money goes further, and you get out of this house that's 50 years old that's going to be falling apart in 10 years when you're ready to sell it. We've got to start educating these people. So I started this talk out by saying this didn't happen overnight, and that's why inventory is an issue. But I also want you guys to understand that listings is all about data. Like, do you know what's happening in your community? Do you know what the aging population is? Do you know where to move people? Are there assisted living facilities for these baby boomers that are really fearful? How do we find those baby boomers to educate them to get those out of those houses so we create inventory? So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Okay. Boom. Okay. So I want to
Kendra,
give you
can I
some,
say one thing real quick
of
there?
course, go for
Yeah,
it.
and that's exactly when I talk about the listing presentations that's failed. That's what they didn't have, right? It's not, and guys, so many of us just survive on our good looks, our charm, or personality, right? And that works if you know the DISC test, the personality profile. That works with the high S's. You can survive on your charm and good looks. But when you get a driver like me, I'm a high D. I need data and I need bullet points and I need the picture, right? The engineers and the attorneys, a lot of people will, oh, they're a-holes or they're this or they're that. No, they just want the data and numbers and they want someone to break it down so they can process it and share those and hear your recommendations on them.
Yes, for sure. So that's reason number one, people are lacking listings right now. We don't have the facts. We're not doing our homework. We're not studying the data. We don't know the trends. So that would be my first challenge for you. Take 30 minutes a week and dig around in the internet. Make sure you look at the source, that you're getting good information. I get that. But educate yourself where you can figure out what's going on in the market so you can educate your clients. Number two is lack of confidence, because we are not the experts when we're not doing our homework. I use myself as an example. The last few years that I was in real estate, I could fog a mirror and sell a house. Okay. And some of you, I did not live through the COVID days of being licensed. I had already stepped out, but you know what that's like, right? The leads are just falling out of the sky. You go out to the apple tree, you pick the big shiny red one, and you leave the 4 or 5 that aren't maybe so great because you had more business to choose from. Well, that market is not here anymore, right? So when we start thinking about, oh my gosh, I need to go find listings, we don't have a lot of confidence because we're not having good conversations. We're not in control of our income anymore. We're allowing the client to control it by not being as educated as an expert as we should be. So that's a number two reason, is lack of confidence. Number three is lack of a unique selling proposition. I have been talking so much about buyers, unique buyer proposition and seller proposition here recently, because I just think that we think we're going to continue to do business the way we've always done it and we're always going to get paid. And if the NAR settlement didn't wake some people up, I don't know what will. It's a great opportunity. It's not a negative thing, but business is different. It's not business as usual. Our scripting has to be different. The way we sell ourselves and what we charge has to be different because everybody's the expert. Just go to Google. It'll tell you everything you want to know, and that makes everybody an expert. So if you haven't revisited your unique selling proposition for listings, I highly recommend you do that. And what I mean by that is it has to be forward facing for the client. I'm number one, I work for the number one company, that crap doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't. It's got to be more about what's in it for the client. What are your average days on the market? What's your average list price to sales price conversions? Where do your listings come from? What services do you provide? Do you do a seller's net sheet? I am shocked at the number of people that don't know how to do a seller's net sheet. If you were going to list a house, the only reason for your initial contact to you is to figure out how much money they can get for their house and how much money you're walking out of the door with. They're walking out of their door with. They don't give a rip about your listing presentation. They don't care that you're number one. What's in it for them? So we have to start thinking about the seller forward facing proposition and stop thinking it's about us. I think that's why a lot of us aren't winning more listings right now. And then the last one is prospecting with a purpose. Listen, what we focus on expands. That's not new for anybody on this call, but what is new is that every conversation should be around, hey, I pride myself on being a listing expert. Who do you know that has a listing that they're concerned about, right? Here's another technique. If you know someone, wink, 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 that maybe is struggling with some financial issues and don't know what their house is worth, and maybe they have enough equity in their house to get out of it without bruising their credit, have them call me. Are you guys using these scripts? Let's be honest, nobody's talking about the trillions of dollars in debt that the American people have right now. We were all so proud to tell everybody about our 3.25% and 3.5% interest rate on our house. What we're not telling them is that the average American has $8,000 in credit card debt. The average American. Now, I'm going to take myself out because I have zero. Okay? So maybe half of the people don't have any. So now we're giving them our 8,000. So I would beg to say the people that are in debt probably have $15,000+ in credit card debt. But they're very proud to tell you they won't sell their house because they have a 3.75% interest rate. Do we know how to educate them on that? Do we know how to tell them that this equity in your house you're paying at 3.7% interest rate to finance this house? But what you're ignoring is this 27% interest rate on all of this debt over here. What if we take this equity, pay that off, and you have one payment every month and it's 6.5% interest? Would you meet with my loan partner to let them see if they can get their monthly note down? If somebody is struggling with debt, do you know how to talk to them about that? I just think there's so much, I don't know what the word is for me, but lack of knowledge on real estate's part right now because it's been so easy for so long. And that's no disrespect to anybody that's here. I've had some easy times too, but I've also had some really, really freaking tough markets. Because when we came out of 2010, my average sales price was like $35,000. I had every Fannie Mae, every Freddie Mac, short sale, foreclosure. I had squatters running out the back when I was running out the front. Those are hard times, y'all. Those are hard times. Most people that have been in real estate since 2010 really have never seen a hard market. So they don't know how to have these conversations. So you guys are getting a gift today from Chad and myself. I hope you consider it a gift of saying, hey, I need to educate myself more. I need to spend more time with some of this data so I can help people. If that's truly why you got into real estate, we need to up our game a little bit. If we truly want to help people, we need to educate them and give them information that empowers them to make a better decision, not just get another commission check. Woo, I'm on a soapbox today. Okay, sorry. So reasons people
That
move.
was like 2 minutes of fire. I love you.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Okay, all right. So let's talk about why reasons people move. Debt, we just talked about it. Births, deaths, divorce, relocation. That's it. Those are ways that we are always looking for somebody to help. So when you know somebody's had a death or a divorce, or we know that we're asking questions and they're in debt, these are opportunities for you to find listings. We just aren't asking the right questions. Okay. So keep those 5 things in your toolkit. So let's talk. I'm going to give you 5 or 6 really quick ways to find some listings, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. First and foremost, right now more than ever, your database, commit to send 10 CMAs a week to your past clients that have been in their houses 3 or more years. So pull up all the A's. Anybody in the A's been in their house 3 to 4 years, print out a 10,000 foot CMA with a cover letter that says, hey, I have a lot of people asking questions about how much equity is in their house, or how did they get out of debt, or what's happening in the real estate market. If you're one of them, here's a 10,000 foot view of what's happening in your neighborhood. Call me, let's have a chat. You send 10 of those on Monday. The next Monday, you call those 10 people and you send 10 more. Before you know it, you have sent everybody in your database CMAs. If you don't find 2 or 3 opportunities to get a listing in there, change the freaking letter. There are people out there that really want to sell. They don't know who to talk to. They're scared. They're embarrassed. This debt thing is going to be ugly if we don't figure out how to get in front of it. That's a really easy way to find some listings. These are people that already know, like, and trust you, right? Tennessee, this one is for you. Maybe some Charlotte, I don't know, but short-term landlords, VRBOs, Airbnbs, especially a lot of those in the downtown market. I coach 2 people that really help a lot of people around this right now sell some of their short terms, because when the short-term boom and the VRBO and the Airbnb thing for downtown Nashville, because it's such a huge tourist attraction, all of those rentals started being bought up because there was not enough hotel rooms. And so people did not want to commute in. They wanted to be able to walk to the bars and the restaurants. And so now the vacancy rate of these has gone way down. And some people are like, you know what? I'm ready to get out. I don't want to be a landlord anymore. There is also great information on the internet that will tell you what the average rental rates are for Airbnbs, VRBOs, short-term rentals in all markets. So if you know that there is a big niche property for these in your area, do some research. See if it's worth knocking on some doors, making some calls, doing some tax record searches. See if you find somebody that has 4 or 5, short-term rentals in a certain area that the vacancy rate's gone down, and figure out how to get in their DM, figure out how to get a letter to them, let them know that you specialize in listings in that marketplace and you have some stats that might help them, right? Again, educate, educate, educate. All
Yeah, and
right.
they're business people, right, Kendra? They're just going to go off
Yes.
the data, and if you can show them they have a problem, vacancies are up. That's on long-term and short-term rentals. I just watched a clip about it this morning, right? They let's say they bought pre-COVID, their property might have doubled. You can solve their problem that they're no longer making money on the short-term or long-term rental. You can get them the cash, and then they can move on to the next property or put it in the stock market. That's awesome.
Absolutely. And you can also share with them how their taxes have changed and how the insurance cost has gone up. Like in Florida, we'd love to buy some rentals. You can't afford to buy rentals here. The insurance is stupid ridiculous, right? So that's not somewhere I'm going to invest. If I was in real estate here, I would be looking for people who own rentals in Florida, knowing that our insurance, we've lived here 2 years, have gone up 24% one year and 22% year over year. So I'm almost 50% more paying in 2 years what I paid 2 years ago. Think about that. Some of these guys are in those same markets that are really struggling. Okay. Listen, another idea is door knocking. I coach a girl from San Francisco. I love her. I love her ambition. She did not have a database about 4 years ago when she got into real estate. So she would go to a high-end luxury agent in her market that had a listing, and she would say, hey, can I hold your house open? She would do an open house Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 4 to 6 for people coming home on Friday, afternoon on Saturday, afternoon on Sunday. But her door knocking was very strategic. Once she picked the listing that she was going to do the open house, she would find the closest move up market that would be, let's say this is $1.5 million house. She's looking for a $900 to $1 million neighborhood, and she knocks 20 doors a day. She parks her car, she goes up 10 doors, back down 10 doors to her car. That's her 1 hour of prospecting every day. And what she does is leaves a flyer. And if she gets somebody that answers the door, I'm just like, I think she's the bravest human in the planet. Because she's smaller than me, but she says, you know, people that are home during the day, a lot of them will strike up a conversation with her and just say, gosh, we'd love to sell, but we know there's nowhere to go. There's no inventory. She's like, well, I've got an invitation for you to find your dream home, and invite them. If they want to know what their house is worth, she gets their cell phone number, their name, and texts it to herself while she's standing there and sends them a 10,000-foot view. And now she has their email and their phone number to drip on them. She has about 2,000 people over the last 4 years that every weekend when she has an open house, she emails them her open house list. Now she has a huge team, but they still knock doors.
And this is in San Francisco, correct?
In San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is how she sells. Now, I will tell you in 2023, she netted $2 million. Netted.
On her tax returns.
On her tax returns. Yes. And all she does is door knock and email and text. That's it. She doesn't do snail mail. As a matter of fact, she has a new baby. And her team is doing all of it. And she's taken like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months off. She's like, I'm not knocking doors right now. I'm like, good for you. But it works. So if you're looking for listings, because what she's trying to do is drive people to her open house, and this is not the house for them, but she gets their information, then she finds them a house, then she gets that listing. And it's just a burn and churn. That's how she makes her money.
Well, if you think about that, Kendra, it's really not that big of a barrier if hey, I'm listing your neighbor's house. I wanted to invite you over to come check it out. They would love to have you as a neighbor. I'm the agent handling it. Hey, if there's any parking problems, if there's anyone like blocking your driveway, here's my cell phone. Call me if there's any problems, and I wanted to invite you. Like, that's not that high of a sales pitch, right? You're just being a courteous neighbor, and the opportunity around that is spectacular. That's amazing. I've seen her grow, and yeah, she's like 4'9", right? Cute as a button, and super charming, but
rock star. She is a rock star. Actually, when I first met her, y'all, she told me, I'm going to be the first female realtor to make $1 billion. And I honest to God would not put it past her. Like, she's that ambitious. Like, she is buying rental properties all over the country, and yeah, she's a little rock star. So that's door knocking. All right, let's go to the next idea. My next idea is house parties. I can't see anybody because I'm using a cheat sheet. Let me go here. Does anybody do house parties, housewarming, or move away parties, relocation parties for their clients? No? Okay. So Chad does. Okay. So here is, for being on this call today, I'm going to send you guys my cheat sheet, and it is how to plan a party. Okay. For a going away party or a housewarming party. So we made it part of our listing presentation. And if they were moving away, then we did a relocation party, especially if they had kids. And so what we would do is a bouncy house. We would pay for the bouncy house. We ask them for their 10 or 15 names, whatever your budget will allow, families to invite. We get the list. We do the invitations. Guess what? Now those people can go into my mailing list. Okay. Then I pay for the bouncy house and the ice cream, or I pay for the Chick-fil-A house. We budgeted back then, this has been a while, but $500. Okay. And we show up with the food, beverages, whatever, the bouncy house, and we're just the extra hands. Let's be honest. Most of you guys are all guys on here. You guys don't. Oh, wait, Kristen's here. I see one female. So let's be honest, Kristen, we're the ones doing all the work when there's a party. The guys are showing up and they're having a great time. We're worried about, does everybody have a drink? Where's the trash? Oh, there's a spill on the floor. And so as the realtor, I show up there and I'm that person. You enjoy your friends, you're relocating, say goodbye, have a good time. And I'm keeping the ice on the water. I'm making sure if there's a mess cleaned up. And guess what? Everybody is saying, oh my gosh, my realtor didn't do this. My realtor didn't, say goodbye to me. They got their paycheck and I never heard from them again. You can do that. Some of them may say, and we had this at times, hey, our house is a disaster. We can't do a relocation party. And I'm like, oh, but we can. Should we do it at Chick-fil-A? Should we do it on the playground and I'll bring popsicles and ice cream or whatever? You can take that group somewhere else. Again, you're there to make the connections. So when people say, well, my realtor didn't do that, you hand them a card and you say, well, maybe next time you will call me and we will definitely do this, right? You do the exact same thing on a housewarming party. So you ask them, hey, 30 days or so after you get settled, and I'm going to reach out to you and we'll get your list for your housewarming party. and you get to pick from one of these three menus. Taco bar, whatever fits your budget. You give them the option. I'll pick it all up. I'll be here to bring the soft drinks. I'll water, keep everything iced down the waters and clean up, and you just have a good time. It's the best $500 and 2 hours on a weekend you will ever spend. That's 8 or 10 new contacts that you have got to meet face to face, shake their hand. They've seen the white glove service that you provide. It's third party endorsement, you guys. I'm always shocked when people are like, oh, people don't want to have parties anymore. I'm like, that is such horse crap. People don't want to have parties if they have to do everything. When you say, I send the invitation, I pick up the food, and I clean up the mess, they're all in, right? Why do we all go to parties? Because we don't have to do that stuff. So be that person. You will get a lot of opportunities from the house parties, and I will send Chad the checklist and you guys can have that. The next one is probate attorneys and estate attorneys. This was a win-win-win for me because you know what? They don't have any emotion in the property. So if you haven't called on a probate or estate attorney yet, you should be. The main thing that I will tell you about this, if you're a loan agent, meaning, you're a sole practitioner, team of one, this may be a little bit more than you want to bite off and chew, because most of them are going to have you get the utilities put in your name. They are going to make sure that if there's stuff left in the house, you have to trash it out. You're in charge of keeping the lawn mowed. You help them set the price and you get your job done so they can get paid and you can get paid. So it is a win-win-win, but there is a lot of upfront loading on that. So if you're a Lone Ranger and you have other business, that's a scary one to bite off, knowing that you have all that. But they are the easiest burn and churn. I mean, we average 4 or 5 a month with a couple of estate attorneys, and there's no emotion. I'm like, hey, the house is worth this. And they're like, okay. And we get it sold, we get paid, and everybody moves on. It's just so brilliant. So that is a really cool idea. Now, if you're wondering, how do I meet these people? I jokingly say this all the time, but attorneys run in packs, okay, just like realtors. So if you know a divorce attorney or a family law attorney, or even your real estate attorney at your title company, they probably know a probate or an estate attorney. Have them introduce you or connect you so it's not a cold call. Listen, these guys, I already started this call out with the baby boomer numbers. They are up to their eyeballs in contacts right now because of the aging population in America, right? So to cold call one of them may be a tough challenge, but if you can get the connection and the foot in the door, it is a very lucrative way to find some listings, and there's no emotion whatsoever. The
Hey,
last
Kendra, real quick,
Yeah,
we have a probate attorney playbook that one of our top students in our coaching program, who Kendra personally coached, and he does all 5 of these things. We put together a probate and divorce attorney playbook for you guys to prospect them. I will tell you, it's a lot of work. I did this lunch and learn in person last year. It was exactly this time. It was in May. And I just got a message from one of the agents that literally took our playbook and implemented it. She had only done 2 million was her biggest year. She did 10.5 million just on probate listings last year, working this program for a year. So she went from 2 million to 10.5 million, followed the playbook exactly, and just killing it with probate attorneys. So if you want, I'm going to put my email in the chat, and I will get you Kendra's checklist. I will get you this probate attorney playbook. And if you stay to the end, I have another little script that will get you on how to get listings.
perfect. Okay, last one, and then we'll open it for Q&A and Chad's little script there. But the last one is senior financial planners. This was my very, very favorite client, probably of all times, for the main reason that he and I had a great business relationship. And so when I talk about senior financial planners, these are financial planners that only work with seniors, okay? So you need to find one of those in your marketplace. And at the time, I'm still not a senior yet. I'm getting close, but I was not a senior. So how I met him was my lender was hosting happy hour. And I used to always laugh at all realtors are like, I don't go to my lender's happy hour because there's only realtors. I'm like, I know, that's exactly why I go. I've got a niche property I need to sell. I got a niche property I need to find. I mean, who better to network with than my peers? Like, get over yourself. Are you a ding dong? But I would go, and I always knew everybody there. And this particular day, there was somebody standing against the wall. He was kind of like the wallflower. And so I'm, being the Southern Belle that I am, walked right over and stuck my hand out. I said, "Oh, you must be a new realtor. I'm Kendra Cooke." And he said, "No, no, I'm not a real estate agent." I'm like, "Well, who are you and what do you do? This is a realtor event." And he said, "Oh, I'm a friend of the person I was there with." And he said, "I'm a senior financial planner. My name." He told me his name, and I said, "What does a senior financial planner do?" This was when I was like, just list and sell, list and sell. Don't think about anybody else. And he said, "I help seniors prepare themselves to retire financially." And I was like, "That sounds like a really cool concept. Can I get your card and follow up with you? Maybe you can tell me a little bit more about what you do." So I did. My assistant followed up with him, and I thought I was going to take him for coffee. He wanted me to come to his office, and I thought, okay, well, that's weird, but made sense. After I got there, as he showed me what he did for his clients. And so he does an annual review. How many of you do an annual review with your clients? Good job. Okay, a couple of us. So we should be. And at that time, I was not doing annual reviews. And he was telling me all about what he does with his clients for his annual review. And they review where their money is in their life insurance and their stocks and their bonds and their mutual funds. And he's just going on and on and on. And I said, "Well, do you talk to them about their real estate?" And he said, "Not really." I'm like, "Well, isn't that part of their portfolio?" And he said, "It is." And he said, "But I just, I really don't know who to refer them to, or I don't have somebody to give them to or whatever." And I'm like, pick me, right? And so that started a great relationship for us. And so his assistant would contact me after he set up the appointment with his client, him or her, whoever set it up. And he got permission to let me pull comps for their real estate. And so he would give us a list of all of his appointments, a week or two at a time. I would pull the comps and we would email them, and they would put those in that folder. So when he was going through all of their financials, he would say, "This is given to you by our preferred real estate agent. This is kind of a 10,000-foot view of what's going on in your real estate market. And if you think it's time to start considering a downsize or, selling one of your 1031 exchanges or blah, 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 this is somebody I really recommend if you don't have someone." And I mean, my business absolutely blew up with him. So yeah, it was very mind blowing.
Add,
Like, no,
add
nobody.
value, right?
Yes,
Free marketing, make
it,
them look good, make them money, save them time.
right.
That is
And
awesome.
so it became just he was my very best client, and still is a very, very dear friend of ours. And so when I used to tell this story, everybody was like, "Well, how much of your money did he have?" And I'm like, "None. He only works with seniors. I don't have the senior title yet." Right. And so we worked together for several years. And he called me one day. And this is where, guys, I share this painful part of the story to say that we need to ask more questions. I was the person who chased the deal right in front of me all those years. And I didn't think about how many other opportunities I was passing up. But he called me one day and he said, "Hey, my wife and I want to talk to you about selling one of our rental properties." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, of course. I didn't even know you had rental properties." He said, "Yeah, Cindy and I have about 300 doors. And this is our this is our retirement plan. And we're going to start selling those off a few every year." How about that? So here he was. I'm thinking I'm just going to get his real estate deals. And he has this massive real estate portfolio, a lot of which he bought in 8, 9, and 10, which were Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac foreclosures. I had no idea. He bought many of them from me when I was the listing agent with another agent. And he's been sitting on them all these years. And so they are starting to sell them. And I want you to know that I've been gone from Middle Tennessee since 2017. And he still calls me to this day. "Hey, I've got this rental on such and such. Who you want to give it to? Just call him and tell him to call me." And so one of the biggest reasons I keep my real estate business is I get referral fees from that account. And I haven't lived there for 8 years. So
How long was that after you met him, Kendra?
it was about 3 years before I got his first listing. And he and I started working together in probably like 12.
Yeah.
And I started getting his rentals in 15, and it is 2025. So for 10 years, I've been helping him liquidate his
Do you know,
residential portfolio.
do you know if there was any that he sold in between the time you guys had met?
I don't know the answer to that. I was too embarrassed to even ask.
But
You
it's
know,
the
I was
truth.
like, but he, yeah. And so it just, great humans. And, when Greg and I were home over the last year, we got to have dinner with them and they're just wonderful people. I ended up selling their personal home, helping them build their forever home on a little piece of acreage. And, it's been a great relationship. So I mean, it's painful, yes, but I'm just telling you guys, when you get in with these companies that like these attorneys and these financial planners, there are so many other opportunities and doors for us to open. And what we're doing is just looking at our database, like there's no listings here. Everybody just bought. I don't have any listings. And it's just, we have to get out of our own way and get out of the rat race of we've always done it this way and it's the only way that works, and just start thinking bigger. And that's really how my business from 2010 to 17 just blew up. It's just different ways of thinking for listings.
I want to just make a comment and a statement, and then we'll open it up to questions. Exactly what Kendra said is the reason why you have to. We do semi-annual review check-ins with our clients twice a year. We tell them this is how much about your home's worth. Check with your agent to see this is how much money you put down. This is your return on your investment. Your investment's doing great, right? Do you have other properties that you want us to look at? That one question alone netted us 15 deals last year. Deals that we hadn't done. Maybe they were out of state. Maybe it was before they did their first loan with me. Maybe they just didn't use me, right? But that one question alone got us 15 deals last year. And I wasn't asking that before. So like Kendra, I didn't have that question, so I didn't know what else they had. I just assumed the only properties they had were with me, right? But this forces me now to ask that question every time, right? And we can add value. We can solidify the deal that we got them. And hey, we've done a great job. Your property's worth in this. But then we can also dig for a need. Do you have any debt you need to consolidate? Let's stop looking at just your interest rate. Let's look at your blended interest rate. What other debt do you have? Do you have any upgrades you need to make or renovations that you want to make? You got money sitting here that you could do that with. Or even better, you've done great on this investment. Why not do another one? Why not? Let's do some retirement planning. I can show you short-term and long-term rentals. If I get a call from an agent like that, I'm never going anywhere else, right? But I'll tell you the truth, and then we'll open it up to questions. I've sold 9 properties in my time, primary home, since I've been a homeowner. Never once have I had an agent call me and professionally guide me like that. I feel ignored. I feel like they're just on to the next deal and they're not looking out for my best interests. So 8 times I've used a different agent to sell my home because I never got that follow-up. It is, if you take one thing from this call, that annual review is super duper important. So I just wanted to drive that point. I mean, Kendra, we'll open up to questions, but I mean, this is how you make $1 million a year as an agent, guys. This is exactly how you do it. I've watched it time and time and time again. And no, you're not going to go from doing none of this to all 5 of these things, but take them in steps. This is what growth looks like. We are going back to a normal market. And with all the changes that have happened, the professionals that don't adopt these prospecting techniques are going to struggle or go away. And that's just the truth.
Well, your
Let's
industry has already seen a huge flush. Ours hasn't really seen a drop yet, but we will start seeing it sooner than later, I think. I mean, your industry's already flushed a lot of it out, but
60% gone. Loan
yeah,
officers from 2021, 60% of them are gone. And I think the same's coming your guys' way.
yeah, I do too. Yeah, I do too.
Questions? I have Helen first. She said, "Hey, what do you say when you get in the door?" I think that's with the door knocking. Am I getting that right, Helen?
No, actually, that was with the attorneys.
Oh, with the
Oh,
attorney. Oh, yeah. So the estate attorneys, when you get in the door with them, it is, hey, I want to provide value and service for you. Do you have a preferred realtor that you give your listings to? Some of them may say yes, some of them may say no. If they say yes, say, I just want to have a leave behind. I want to show you the services that I provide. So if your people can't perform or can't take one of your listings, I want to be your next in line. So just sell yourself that way. a lot of them will say, I just go to Google and put, and you're like, no, you're setting yourself up to have a lot of heartache. What if you picked me and these are the services I provide? So you just need to sell yourself and what you will and won't do. So for us, it was just a matter of, we will trash the house out or stage the home. We'll assess the property, make sure if there's any repairs that have to be done. We can give you a price as is or fixed up. We can turn the utilities on and manage that and be reimbursed at the closing. We can get the lawn service turned on right away, those kind of things. And so you just give them the menu of services of what you will do. And if they already have someone, just you want to be their go-to when that person's not available, and just continue to drip on them. Call them once a month, leave them a voicemail, shoot them a handwritten note once in a while. It's just like any other client that we're dripping on, but just have a menu of services that you want to offer them.
That's excellent.
No, I was just kind of thinking about that because I do a lot of listings for older people because I'm older myself now. And a lot of times I offer to help them like rejuvenate the house, I guess, renovate the house, whatever needs to be done. And that sounds to me very similar to what I would be doing for somebody like that, right?
Yes, just have your list of vendors. And that's why it is tough for people who don't have these, don't have a painter or a lawn person or whatever. They can't offer those services because then you got to go find the people to do the work. You got to have those people in your hip pocket that, like, you're already doing it for your clients, that you can quickly ask them, hey, I got a lawn I need to get on rotation. Can you get out there tomorrow? And they're like, I'm on my way, right? When you give people enough business, they'll be on standby for you when you need them.
Yep. And I'll have that all played out in the playbook. And if any of you have a need in the Charlotte area down into northern South Carolina, Helen is the agent I was talking about that has the great follow-up. Helen is the one that went and found me the homes to get into a spec home. She's the one that has door knocks. She is the one that makes these annual review calls, and she's found me several great properties to build on. So I appreciate you, Helen, and know if you guys got any clients moving to this area, she's a great resource for that.
I love it.
Thank you for the shout out.
August asked, housewarming parties, are you inviting the neighbors too?
It's up to them. Really what I try to do is let them set the expectation of who they want to come. If they don't care that I invite a couple of their neighbors, especially if I have other people that I've sold houses in that neighborhood and I know they have kids in the similar age or whatever, I'll ask them for their permission to invite them. But it's usually just whoever they put on their list. So ours, I want to say it was 10 families they could invite. It might have been 15. I don't remember. Because I was just thinking if half of them come and there's 4 people, that's 20. We don't want to have 90 people in a house. So, but I let them pick their list. So usually not.
Awesome. Jennifer had a question.
Hi, thanks. I hope I'm in a safe place to ask this question.
Always a safe place.
Okay. Kendra, regarding the seller net sheet, I used to do it and then I kind of shied away from it because of 2 reasons. Number one, I'm afraid of the inaccuracy, and I did partner with title to make sure I'm pretty close on the number. So I'm always afraid like I might be off a little bit, and I did put a little disclaimer at the bottom that it might not be accurate. But number 2, also the awkwardness of my commission number being right there. When it's a percentage, it's less awkward. But then sometimes I've gotten the remark of, oh, wow, you're making a lot on this transaction or something of that nature. Have you ever had that happen, or is it just me?
100%. Yes, yes, and yes. So you are in a safe spot, and we've all been faced with that. I promise you, everybody on this call.
So what do you do?
Yeah, so here's what I would tell you.
We even have a lot of lenders on the call, and we mess up the loan estimate once in a while.
Oh,
So we're in a very
really?
safe place. And our job is math, Jennifer. So know you're in a safe place.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple things. Mine says estimated seller's net sheet. So I'm very crystal clear. And when I look at their, when they show me their payoff letter, because I send a video to them that tells them what they have to have ready for the appointment. And one of them is their payoff letter, their most recent payoff letter. So when I look at it and it says 252, I'm like 260. So I inflate every number. Okay. Same thing with the commission. It's 10,500. I just put $11,000 because there's going to be an error somewhere. I just want all the numbers padded. Now, out beside the 11,000, I literally would put a dash and put a little thing that looks like this, the house, like the tent, but no bottom. And I would put like whatever the seller's percentage is over here and whatever the buyer's percentage is over here. And then I show that I keep 70% of that based on my split with the company and expenses, or 60% or whatever. And so I always circle that number. I break it down. So they're like, oh, shoot, out of $11,000, you're getting 3,300. It looks better, right?
Okay.
So I always do that. I break it down of what I'm going to net out of that. And then I come back over and I'm like, okay, your closing fees, 1,500, your taxes prorated. I figure those out. Plug in, if we close it in October, 10 months of taxes. I figure out title, right? I break out the title cost. And then at the bottom, let's say it's 63,000. I put 60,000, circle it real big and put plus or minus. So
Okay.
I'm giving myself plenty of commission or cushion, if you will, and I'm breaking out the commission. So that really stopped the conversation about commissions. The other thing that I can tell you is when you take control of that listing appointment, the minute you touch foot on the front porch, you got to take control, because the minute you give them control, they have control through the whole process. So what I mean by that is they come to the door, even if I know them or I don't, I'm going to say, hey guys, let me set my bag down and give me a tour of the house before we get settled and comfy. Because if I sit down and I give them a price of $350,000 and then I walk to the bathroom and they've got the tub ripped out and there's no plumbing in the wall, they ain't getting 350, they're getting 300, right?
Yeah.
So I want to see all the obstacles and have all the negative things I need to factor in before I sit down and talk about price. But that gives me power right up front. I control the narrative of the appointment and the flow of it. Then we can get situated, and then I go through the presentation, seller's net sheet last, overcome any objections, sign the paperwork, and get out. So those are some things that when you take the power from the get-go and I go through my presentation and I'm the professional, I don't get a lot of pushback on my commission. It's when people say, hey, what do you charge? And right off the bat, I say X. Then they're like, oh, that seems like a lot. Well, you don't know what I'm doing for you yet. I haven't even got to that point. So I won't even talk about commission. I wouldn't go on a listing appointment if somebody calls in all they want is a commission. I would just say, I'm probably not a good fit, because I want to go through my presentation and preview your property to see if we're a good fit before I can quote my commission. All commissions are negotiable.
That's right. Hey, Jennifer, I want to drive something home too, because the listing agent that got my business, she did exactly what Kendra said. She met with me in person. The other ones that weren't well tried to send me an email, never went over their costs. And what I found so amazing that this agent did, she broke out her commission like that, but she put what her broker gets, she put what she gets, and then she put her expenses below that for marketing. So I could truly see she was spending money to get it positioned correctly on Zillow. She was putting it in a luxury magazine. Her broker open party that she recommended, and she put down all of her costs, and she said, I'm not going to charge you these things. I'm including here. So then I knew what I was getting with her services and what they cost her. And she actually used that, because I said, hey, I'll only list with you for 90 days. You can sell it in 90 days. She kind of took control back and said, I have all these costs. I need it for 6 months. The average time on the market in this area is 5.5 months. So it's not fair to me to do the 90 days. And I gave it to her. So she just came so prepared, detailed, broke that all out. And then she put her commission, or the buyer's commission, on the other side and showed about what the buyer would be paying and said, you could pay that. They might pay that. That will be negotiable. And she blew me away with her presentation. So I hope that helps too.
Yeah, that really helps a lot. Thank you. Thank you. So your seller net sheet, does that change then, Kendra, when you walk through the door, because you're looking at the condition and the condition changes?
I do it right there with my calculator. I kind of have in my mind what I want to price the house at, like a range, but I will not do the sellers. I do it with my calculator and a pen when I'm sitting there. I know how to figure out title. I know how to figure out taxes, prorations, and then the rest of the fees are pretty set once I get their payoff. So I do it in front of them. So they're like, oh, yeah, she's value add. She knows what she's doing. Confidence, right?
Okay.
If I it's all pre-printed, who knows who did it?
Got it. Thank you so much. That helps a lot.
You're welcome.
Brady wanted to know if you had a cash proceeds template, if you still had that.
A cash proceeds template. I don't know what that is.
A breakdown of what you just said.
Oh, like a seller's net sheet.
Yeah,
like
sorry, I didn't say it right.
Yeah. I've got a seller's net sheet. I'll send it to you. Cool. Yeah.
Perfect. Oren asked, do you have a recommendation for pre-listing prep, such as pre-listing inspections, pulling all condo docs, and pulling title work, etc.? Great question.
Do I have a checklist or do I do that?
Do you do that and or have a checklist?
No. I do have a checklist, so I can send you that. Oh, hang on, y'all. I have to write this down because my brain is not good. Okay, checklist, blank, seller's net. Okay. I have a checklist, but here's the thing. A lot of times if I go to a condo to list it, they'll have the documents there because we do send a pre-list packet that says, hey, these are all the things that I need. And then I can check those with the title company after the fact. But let's be honest, if I get there and I don't want the listing, I don't want to have to jump. I don't want to have wasted time jumping through all those hoops before I got there. So, listen, as much as they're interviewing me at a listing appointment, I'm interviewing them too, right? So a lot of times I don't take every listing. If they can't price it to where I'm going to get paid, why do I want it? If I get there and there's no way, that it's in my wheelhouse and I'm over my head and it's not my niche, I can give them a referral. So no, I don't do a lot of that up front. If I'm going to list it, I would get it before I listed it for sure.
Amazing. Final question. Anyone got a final question? So I want you guys to email me and tell me who the loan officer was that invited you today so I can make sure they get you the proper follow-up on some of these things. We talked about doing 10 CMAs per week and then following up with them the next week. Amazing tactic. We talked about doing market research on short-term rentals because vacancies are way up. I have several short-term rentals. This is a fact. I have bought a couple of them pre-COVID. If someone approached me and showed me how much money I could make with a net seller sheet and solve this problem that I am funding sometimes these properties because of their short vacancy, I might consider listing one of them. So do your research on areas that have short-term or long-term rentals. Don't just look at the short-term. We talked about door knocking around an open house. We both know an agent that has absolutely perfected that. And I don't think it's got to be this big undertaking. We have to get face-to-face to build relationships. We talked about doing relocation and housewarming parties. And then we talked about prospecting senior financial partners, probate attorneys, divorce attorneys, and I will get you a whole playbook on that. Any final thoughts?
Did you guys find value today? Give us a thumbs
Yeah,
up.
I've sat through a bunch of these, and this one, fire, very
Thank
good.
you.
I've seen
Yay.
you a lot, girl. This was you at your best. This was absolutely mind-boggling. And the cool part is Kendra has coached so many of my partners in the coaching company, and I see them all doing this, and I get to see them behind the scenes. There's nothing special about them. I guarantee some of you are way more special than them. They're just very tactical. They get these things and they don't wait on them. They don't think about it. They just implement. So you have 5 great things. I challenge loan officers on here. Stay accountable. Keep the you can add value by helping them implement these things. It's truly a partnership when we do this together. If any of you need accountability from this, Kendra got coached at a very high level for many years. I've been coached at a high level for many, many years. We truly believe in coaching. I could get you to talk to some of my partners that are real estate coaches. And I'm just blown away, Kendra. This was an absolute perfect timing masterclass on 5 great things that they can do to get a listing by next week. So do all these things today and you'll have a listing by next week. So now that's the hard part, implementation.
I'll
Thank
get
you,
you guys
Kendra.
these tools right now, Chad, so you can pass them out.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, guys. Great
Bye, y'all.
job, Kendra.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you very much.